Oh, shoot. My tab. Oh, my tab's gone forever. Oh, it's not gone forever. It's right there. We are looking at Group B here for two players that are kind of right in the middle here. Binski looking to get his first win. MaSa also looking to secure a second win. But enough of that. Bottom left-hand corner here of 2,000 Atmospheres. It is our blue Terran player playing for LTK. This is Binski.
His opponent in the top right in the red playing for Team Storm Gaming. It is MaSa.
I panicked and forgot what LTK actually stands for. What is
License to Kill.
License to Kill. That's right. So
Just think of James Bond.
Ah, there we go. Okay, it's in my brain forever now. But here's a fun little proxy here. It's actually a 2-racks, so this is a big commitment.
Yeah, and I talked about MaSa's pocket strategies and aggression. He likes to hide stuff somewhere, you know, whenever he can, which is, it's almost ironic because he's so good at macro. I actually think his macro is incredible. Yet somehow it seems like he really considers unpredictability very highly on the things that he wants to emphasize his play on. Unfortunately for him, I think that was pretty well scouted. Binski went across the map, saw absolutely nothing there. What Binski cannot know now is whether it's a 1 or 2 barracks.
Yeah, it seems like he's responded to it appropriately, though. Bunker going down at the ramp and at the jump points for the Reapers. That's going to be about the best way to deal with this, but now he's got to make sure that this all finishes here because those Reapers are going to be able to get some good range damage done. One SCV already taken care of, but there is an additional Reaper for Binski as well. So I think this defense will be able to happen in the short term. It's whether or not he can make it work long term that we will have to see, but it looks promising here so far for Binski.
Kind of feels to me like MaSa was hoping this either wouldn't be scouted or that there'd be a greedier build for him to really punish and do a lot of damage against. Because now, he didn't kill much. I think that was just the 1 walker that he took out, but he lost 1 himself. So he's 2-3 walkers behind. And the room for him to find damage behind this doesn't feel like it really exists. So it's really about how much can he delay the expanding here of his opponent while being on time with his own.
Ooh, I actually love this, using the barracks as a high ground viewpoint here.
Wait, the top left, don't tell me that's for a command center. Don't you dare. That would be insane.
It'd be a bold play here for sure. MaSa is going to get a lot of work done here. Supply depot is starting to burn, but the SCV is going to be here to repair. And it's really good control here so far. All of these Reapers are still in action. That one in the back, really damaged there. It does finally go down. And what has been the exchange on damage? It's been no losses here for Binski. Binski doing a really good job picking off the single Reaper in the engagement, but I can't help but agree with you. I think this might end up being a command center.
The thing is, MaSa knows that he was scouted in the start. Does he realize that that SCV never went home? In which case, he might eventually check up there. That would be just an insane read by him. I mean, there's no command center yet. There might not even be one at all, but it felt like, you know, in that exact position, he was about to start the CC. Maybe he thought about it, reconsidered. I think it's too obvious if he would get it now, right? But then MaSa will realize there's no command center in the main and be like, wait a second. I think you really have to sell it as if this were normal. He actually gets the depot here. MaSa finding some damage and supply blocking Binski.
I mean, this couldn't
We start 3 depot. 3 of them.
This couldn't be like a proxy, like fusion core, could it?
Yeah,
Oh no, it is going to be a command center. That's wild.
Yeah, this is sick. I love this. I feel like eventually, though, most players recognize that this is a possibility and kind of look for it. But it doesn't happen before you've actually mined a lot, and then you could still evacuate by flying away and sending the SCVs out if something were to attack it. Maybe Binski realizes, like, all right, he's like, all right, you want to be tricky with me? You know who I am? Play for team License to Kill, homie, and then he just drops down that 3rd CC.
Well, and I was noticing that as we were talking about Binski before the break, people in the chat were making comments. He's like, oh, he's pretty trolly in his builds. He likes to play really cheeky and weird, but I don't know if I would have guessed this, like pocket ninja base that is a special kind of fun that is going to be interesting for MaSa to deal with. But you're absolutely right. It's going to come down to whether or not he made the connection that the worker never actually came back home, and that he might want to try and take a look in those corners. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, he needs to actually sell this really well. Like, he needs to actually go for a third base, you know, at the front where you usually would get it. Because if you stay on 2 bases too long here, MaSa is going to be able to put 2 and 2 together. That would be pretty bad business for Binski. Kind of get caught like that. See, the barracks goes inside, sees no third CC right now. This could be a big tell. It feels like something's missing, perhaps. So we'll see if MaSa actually adjusts and checks every corner of the map.
Well,
I'm just happy flexing his own macro muscles.
So the way that Binski could possibly sell this would be like additional aggression, right? If he's going to hold off on that third base, maybe he's going to wind up and get as much production as he possibly can, but this just isn't enough units to sell that point. Not to mention, they're not moving out across the map. MaSa still has his Reapers here on the high ground, and seeing only a couple of units moving around should just be enough of an indicator. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He is going to start looking now. Is he going to be able to find the position? No, it looks like he's just going to walk around for right now. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's Binski's job to try and sell it, and right now he's doing a decent enough job.
He needs to start a third CC around his... well, actually, he did in the main. So he's going to kind of want to expand here in a triangle above where the main base currently is. The question is, will MaSa check in the top left at all? MaSa doesn't know about this command center. Maybe just thought, all right, it's delayed. It's not the end of the world. You know, maybe he's not quite where I thought he would be on the SCV count. You always need to wait. Like, there's no point. Like, if you have 16 SCVs to start 2 command centers, you need to build up the SCV count first. Everything needs to be taken at the appropriate time and step.
Well, it seems like MaSa's just going to be focused on getting his third base secured here. Orbital does land out at the third base location, and the mech units here are starting to pile up. Nice amount of Ravens, I think, for both sides. Yeah, both sides are rocking a couple of Ravens as well. We've got 1-1 on the way for MaSa. A little bit of an advantage over his opponent, Binski, who's a little bit behind on that. But again, that's the fourth base, really, here. Just the timing of that taking place. But he's getting a decent amount of value out of this. Every minute that goes by and this base is just left untouched, that is a huge amount of advantage for Binski.
Yeah, the upgrades on both sides are going to be very important, as they're very, very standard with a lot of bio and some tanks here and there. The Viking count is something we need to pay close attention to with the air control. And MaSa is doing really good with those numbers, actually. Like, Viking-wise, he's got 6 against 4. Tank count is 1 behind. And he's 2 Raven against 2. So Binski does have more Marines currently. Those 4 Reapers, I don't know that they even play a role in this. I think you just kind of want to keep them alive on the map and then try to sneak them somewhere eventually to kill SCVs off as the opponent's busy looking elsewhere.
Well, we are going to get our first little bit of aggression here by MaSa. MaSa needs to start kind of putting some pieces together here. He's going to scan and see that third base, so I can't imagine that he is going to wrinkle his nose at this one. But this is actually a pretty nice positioning here. Tank is getting in far enough that we'll be able to harass that the entrance to the natural there. Sorry, my brain just kind of stopped for a moment. But no, this is a nice little position here. Even with a good stim forward, this is going to be difficult for Binski to try and break. Some really good shutdowns here on the siege tanks. That's going to make this an even more difficult situation for Binski to try and deal with. And MaSa right now doing really good with the hold.
That was a weird timing to use interference matrix, because he wasn't sieging forward, but Binski wants to break this contain out. He goes for his own interference matrix on those tanks, gets rid of them. Anti-armor missile will only do so much, and where's the medivacs? He just spammed Vikings and Raven. He actually has no medivac to heal up this bio.
Ooh, nice little run by here of Marines. Tried to take out the extractor, but got distracted by actual units here. I just, like, this is... If Binski wins, like, this is the creme de la creme of the victory here. So And Binski's actually going to double down on it here. He's going to come up the left-hand side and make this a more contentious point here. He's going to be able to defend that corner base for sure.
Yeah, Binski needs to wait for some medivacs. All of this bio is injured here. If he steams, everything's going to be like mid hit points or even low. This better be a fake. Binski, don't do it. Don't attack. MaSa's ready. He needs to pull back. Just regroup with everything. And the Reapers finally, that's their cue. They're like, all right, we see the move out. Boom. Going to the expansion. The natural base of Binski. They're going to be ready to take out as many SCVs as they can here.
Oh.
Binski's going for it on the other side. What the hell is going on?
Oh, I mean, all the bio gets clumped up on the right-hand side. That's going to make these tanks incredibly effective here, but they haven't found a way to deal with the Reapers just yet. Now, finally taken care of. The anti-armor missile not going to be enough to really lock these tanks into a worser position. Yeah, so now MaSa's just going to have to run on the right-hand side here. This is a really good engagement point for Binski. 187 to 137. Todd!
Oh my god, the supply. Rashi, what is going on? Binski showing up strong here. He's gonna steam forward. He smells blood in the water. Those tanks, he needs to target them first, get rid of them, and keep up with the siege. He has so many tanks behind this. They're not leapfrogging forward, but it might not matter. 181 supply to 125, and MaSa is in a world of trouble.
I mean, this is a dead base here, and I'm not incredibly sure that MaSa is going to be able to respond on the opposite side of the map. It's 102 to 65 on the army supply count here, but oh man, this base paying dividends, paying for college, paying for retirement, the mortgage. It's covering all of the financial expenses here that Binski had in game number 1, and he showed up to play. These tanks are in a pretty strong position, not able to siege anything on the high ground at this particular moment. But look at this. You were worried about the medevac count, and these have shown up in droves. 5 medevacs with a decent amount of energy here. I think this is going to be a way more difficult army to deal with.
It's so crazy to me that he did this well with barely any medevacs. Like he just had one, I think, going on with his push, and still the push was insane. Army supply massively ahead here for Binski right now. MaSa is just trying to survive, but getting on top of the production here, that might be it. Binski finding some critical damage. He's getting countered on the other side, but he has enough units to easily defend, and that base in the top left-hand side has been mining fully the whole time. He could have just moved that as well eventually, right? Like, as soon as that mines out, just move that orbital command to another base and start mining.
Oh, yeah. That would just be insult to injury at this point. But Binski going to get a little bit of the reinforcements coming up here, so that ends up being a good opportunity to try and regroup. But Binski's got to be careful he doesn't overextend. But still, 173 to 136. You can afford to trade a little bit inefficiently at this point in the game, and you probably are going to be okay, especially if you take out a couple of tanks or medevacs along the way.
I was talking about MaSa's macro. Look at Binski's main. Such a clean main. Really great macro. He's never floating much minerals. He's spending that really, really well. Constant production. Keeps on expanding Planetary Fortress at the 4th base. He's taking every appropriate step. I do think that maybe the best thing he can do is like go for a big drop around the main base. Maybe he doesn't feel like he has enough medivacs. He's just a 3 here at the front.
Oh, man, the hype right now for Binski is just so high. It's buy on Binski. So good amount of rotating here happening. Blue Terran player going to separate a little bit of his army. A bit of a doom drop, but the army's still located here on the right-hand side. Binski, don't throw away an opportunity. He is going to lose one of those medevacs. Had one of the tanks in it as well. These tanks do need to get sieged up, though. They are kind of in a weird spot. They are going to throttle off those Marines, but actually the one that was throttling the most does get picked off. Additional tanks coming here. 6 tanks in total. Now we see the ramp being populated here. This is going to be a tough position to break.
And MaSa, without patience, he wants to break this contain as soon as possible. He marches forward, tanks doing what they can. Actually, they're pretty much all that's going to be left over on both sides, making this siege really awkward there. Drop in the main base, and Binski has tanks there. There's 2 tanks that he can siege on the high ground with bio as well. Everything that comes out of these production buildings is going to fall very rapidly to this.
Yeah, this is such an incredibly difficult place to try and play into. All the units getting choked up on the ramp. These tanks are going to get so much damage here. 7 workers getting picked off. There's additional forces coming across the map. I think Binski is just looking to push the remainder of this army into the brink.
MaSa trying to defend as well as he can. Lands the Vikings as well, but there's just too much Binski. MaSa in game number 1 here.
Wow. Wow. I can't even say if that is an upset or not. I mean, that was just very well played by the blue Terran player. So really showing why he belongs in the top 16 in the NA regional for sure.
That was sick. That was sick. We needed an upset, you know, like obviously it's only map 1, but that was very impressive because it wasn't like he did something crazy either. Again, like that was, yes, he had a hidden base, but it was with some incredible macro behind this and outmaneuvering with all of the attacks.
Oh man, if MaSa even peaked at the just the rewind there at the end of that game, oh man, he's definitely going to kick himself. But going to be something that he has to check for in game number 2 if he's even aware of it. It's possible that he might not be. But props to Binski. Made it work, and it had a really good defense at the beginning of the game. It's kind of fun to remember that 16-minute game started with a 2 racks proxy. So very interesting development here. We're going to Hardwire for game number 2. Another map that's got a lot of different proxy points that can work out here. We'll have to see if MaSa wants to try and do that again, or if maybe he's going to respect the Binski just a little bit more.
Would Binski try for another hidden base? I feel like MaSa's going to be more on point with checking it out. Like, it doesn't take much effort to just send 1 unit to patrol around the map as well.
Well, we'll have to see what happens here as we boot up game number 2. Bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire. It's our red Terran player playing for Psystorm Gaming. This is MaSa.
His opponent in the blue, playing for Team License to Kill. It is the almighty Binski, who's made a fan in me already for that first game.
Yeah, for sure. I got to say, that's actually one of the more interesting TVTs I've watched in the last few months. So it was very entertaining. If we could get a game number 2 that's very similar in scope, I would be happy.
Let's see. We obviously have very different builds. MaSa's not proxying, but he's opening double refinery here on the southern map. So going to be very gas heavy. Whereas Binski went for the first one and now adds the second one later on. MaSa actually skipping any sort of scout entirely, whereas Binski sending an SCV across the map. So we're already seeing some differences here between both players, the way they're going about doing their build order.
Being educated in the chat that it would only have been an upset if Binski had lost to MaSa. Okay, got it. Can always count on Twitch chat to keep me informed.
Binski seems to have quite the fan club.
You know, and
does he stream? Like
he must.
Yeah,
he must. But I'll tell you, that's what I love about the NA scene. The NA scene has some passionate followers. I mean, another player, and we talked about this earlier, that has a passionate following, M. Canning, I mean, they break out the American flags. They've got the beer cans. They are all about Mr. America. And
doing some tailgating somewhere.
What's that?
They're doing some tailgating somewhere. Right?
Oh, yeah. they just like pulled up to a random stadium somewhere in America, and they're like, "What, guys? It's 4 months until the next game." It's like, "No, we're here for our own thing." They're pulling like LAN cables out. Do you have Cat 5 we can plug into?
Oh my god! You know, I went to an NFL game once with Rotty in Washington.
Oh my gosh!
And then there was all these people doing barbecue outside on the parking lot. I was like, "What is going on?" It's like, yeah, it's called tailgating. They just like bring the barbecue and they eat outside and stuff like before the game. And he just looks at me as like, Americans.
You have not lived until you've played cornhole at a tailgating event. That is quintessential American tailgating. You got barbecue, you've got beer, and you've got cornhole.
What is that?
Other people call it bags. It's like a bag toss.
Ah, okay. So
Yeah.
no beer pong?
You know, there's a lot of that too. I never got into beer pong.
Yeah. I like beer pong, but I don't drink anymore, so
That's fair.
I guess you kind of have to want to play that. All right, let's see. We got a Raven already on the way for MaSa. Binski, his starport's about to finish. It's not near any add-on. So curious if it's just going to be a medivac. Usually when you go Cyclone, yes, it's going to be for that low time. No, there it is, Tech Lab. So might just get his own Raven here, a little bit delayed compared than that of MaSa's. And so is the, actually no, the refinery and the expansion. Both of them took the third one.
So we've got cyclones here. We've got tech labs. It's a bunch of mystery right now as we watch things kind of unfold. I want to know what's going to come out of this starport. Is it going to be a Raven to match the Raven of MaSa? It will be, which seems like it tracks here. Tank's going to be pumping out here for Binski as well. So yeah, you're right. Both players taking a much different approach here in game number 2.
Please let it be mech. Just love me some mech.
I mean, there's already 2 cyclones. There's a tank. I mean, I think your wish might be coming true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the additional refinery being taken a bit earlier by MaSa. Usually this type of map where like the expansions or like, I guess all the bases that you can take near your main are like kind of clumped up together. That can be encouraging to actually go for something like mech, because it's easier to cover the whole space and like defend very, very well against bio and multi-pronged attack. And then the goal is to build up that superior army that you finally can then move out with and fight super effectively. But I might have just said that for nothing, as it's perhaps going to be bio against bio, but I'm rooting for mech. That's all I wanted to say.
We can dream. We can dream, Todd.
Absolutely. I'm a dreamer.
All right, so third base is on the way here for MaSa, so there is a destination in mind, and it's a ways down the road. Looks like Binski's going to match him as well, but this is a sizable force here for MaSa. 2 Ravens could bring a lot of support damage for this army, and a couple of tanks is not something to be ignored. But on the opposite side here, Binski does have 3 tanks of his own, is starting to make a little bit of a transition as well, picking up Stim Pack. So yeah, I think you are right. The dream is not quite dead, but we are starting to wake up a little bit to a bit of bio.
Oh yeah, it is that they're both getting barracks. Binski actually accidentally canceled, or like didn't start this one of the barracks that he was trying to get. He queued a barracks under his starport. I don't know if that got blocked as they engage out on the map here actually right now. See who gets the better end of that. That one tank taking a lot of damage here, but Binski will get the cleanup.
Wow.
And he actually, wait, his Ravens for MaSa here escaped on the right-hand side as Binski retreated back home with just the one.
Oh, I mean, this is going to pick up workers. This is dealing a decent amount of damage here. Slowing up one of the barracks, picking off some of the gas workers. This ended up going kind of in the middle here. I mean, if you look at the battle report, it's a little bit better gas exchange for Binski, a little bit better mineral exchange for MaSa. But ideally, it just comes down to what the follow-up push is going to be here. So Binski has these additional units. MaSa actually needs to be careful here. He does have a retreat path that needs to be protected here, and these Ravens are already a bit damaged.
MaSa's getting caught in the middle of the map here, trying to reinforce that little siege that he's got going around the main base of Binski, and Binski might just be on the warpath behind this, because he got really, really good cost-effective trades here for a moment, and realizing that he's got more now, just trying to set up a siege across the map.
Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting moment here. A couple of those Marines looking at a little bit of damage here, so going to pay for themselves on the way out. But it seems like Binski, like you said, on the warpath here, has tanks ready to siege up. The tanks are going to get sieged up in position. Those Marines did a nice job of soaking up the initial damage here. And yeah, the reinforcements just going to get picked off by tanks as well. So this ends up being a really decent exchange here. Binski getting a lot of momentum off of this as well. Here come the reinforcements.
Oh my god. MaSa's just gonna lose. The third base has to be evacuated. Binski is going to siege towards the expansion. He still has 3 tanks. He's making it look like he was the favorite all along here.
Oh
in
my.
a world of trouble. He's pulling SCVs off the line.
Oh yeah, this is so much damage here, and he might even be able to get the Liberator, but it does come at the cost of all of the tanks. But 25 workers, Todd! That is so much damage here. That is unequivocally a great advantage here for Binski.
Oh yeah, the supply difference here. Almost double right now for... Actually, it was double for a second. Combat Shield's about to finish. And behind this, he's going to have great production. And the only thing he's behind on is upgrades. But honestly, when you're that much supply ahead, I don't think it matters too much what the upgrades are. MaSa needs to, I think, turtle. He needs to camp. He needs to hope that Binski overexpands and attacks too much too quickly. But even then, like, he actually might be able to take down MaSa. Oh, the Marines got close enough to be able to take it out.
Yeah, that was a really good micro to just sneak that last Marine in there. So losing that tank, it just allows Binski to continue streaming these units forward across the map. It's just a conga line across the map here. The third base has to be evacuated again. That's terrible damage.
Oh, I'm actually shocked. In my mind, MaSa was going to be the overwhelming favorite, but Binski showing up strong. Now pressing forward. He wants to close things out. You don't want to let a player like MaSa come back into this type of game. He sees that he has very few units. He's going for it. SCV's pulled off the line again. He's trying to deal as much economic damage as he can, or even try to close things out right now. MaSa's supply is plummeting.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the tanks are going to get cleaned up, but once again, 13 workers go down. This is damage that MaSa just cannot afford. It's 64 to 36 workers. And again, the conga line continues across the map here as these units are continuing to try and reinforce on the opposite side. Workers get pulled again. These tanks just have so much to shoot at here. Additional Marines keep coming forward. But the only thing Binski could maybe do a little bit differently is just let his units group up and fight this army one last time as the units do come streaming in 2 or 3 at a time, and MaSa just has a little bit of a defender's advantage. But this is starting to look like a complicated situation here for the Red Terran.
Binski is about to be saturated on 4 bases. He has 67 workers to 39. He doesn't even need to be that aggressive. He could just like macro up for a few minutes and then just have like the biggest supply leads before he finally goes for like some sort of drop and attack. But no. He wants to take this victory, and he wants to take it now. So he's trying to bring MaSa out of position. MaSa doing a very good job here, using a single medivac to spot where the army is going. Again, like the job that he has to do here is very clear. He needs to see where the attack's coming from, be in position and sieged, and not let it happen up until he can somewhat catch up in supply. MaSa actually started 2-2. That's so ambitious. He's 50 supply behind. It feels like he needs more units, but he's like, no. I don't just need more units. I need better upgrades if I want to have a chance down the line. And Binski sneaks past the army of MaSa into the expansion here.
And this is a great wedge here. These tanks so far back, trying to get everything sieged down. 13 more workers taken care of. And MaSa has to sacrifice so much every single time. And all of these medevacs continue to escape. So additional units are going to come streaming across. Once again, there's more Marines. There's just less MaSa every single engagement.
This game's relentless. This guy just won't cede back. He wants to get into MaSa's face. He wants to be attacking all the time. And maybe overextending slightly here into the tanks. He just has so much more that it almost doesn't matter too much. He's applying so much pressure as well. Like, even if he finds a couple SCVs kill here and there, he's just keeping a healthy economic lead, to which he's just going to keep on expanding himself, and he's going to prevent MaSa entirely from taking new bases, ideally, for him.
Oh, very, very good play here by the Blue Terran as he just, again, the production just never stops. The Congas keep on playing. As long as these medevacs continue to escape with a decent amount of energy, this is going to continue to allow for more opportunities. Yeah, that one tank not quite going to get what he needs, but look at that orbital command, Todd. It's actually rather low. It's about halfway down, and that could be a scary attack point here, but I think Binski might just try to do a doom drop into the main.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's actually so smart. He pulled the army out of position for a second into the natural, where Marines are still left over and dealing with SCVs so quickly. MaSa didn't dispatch enough units to get rid of this, and now the big drop inside of the main base. MaSa's trying to move back to defend, but double the supply for Binski.
164 to 58. It's over. Binski with the relentless play here in game number 2 secures the series 2-0. It's an upset for the American
That was
Terran.
really sick. That was so impressive.